we are going to start the case study, mini case study, I can say, how Informatica tool is implemented in a project. Implemented in a data warehouse project. That will be our agenda. So, as we discussed in the implementation methodology of a project, how they implement project in the data warehouse concepts, there we have, and also as part of the data warehouse concepts we discussed, there will be a source system, or you can have one source system or multiple source systems. And as per the design, they will have a staging area, an intermediate area, which we called it which is a relational database. Then we said we have a data mart where you will have the dimension tables and the fact tables. And in these dimension tables, there may be dimensions of SCD1, SCD2. So this was what our discussion. And in the dimension table, we will, while loading the data into the dimension table, we will delegate the surrogate key and the grain level at which you capture the data is, in this mini case study, is daily grain level. So you have the time dimension in this. Then you have to ensure from a data warehouse perspective, first you have to load the dimension table data, then the fact load means first complete all the dimension table load, complete all dimensions load, then fact. This is what we have discussed in the data warehouse concepts. And we said in the projects, data will be extracted from the source. Your source may be a OLTP system, to staging. We do the ETL process with the minimal transformations. And our understanding was staging tables will be of the same structure as much as possible in the staging. Then next process from staging, we are going to do the ETL process to load the data mart, extraction transformation, and the maximum transformation will be from in projects will be from staging to data mart. This is what we have discussed in the data warehouse concepts training program. On this understanding, if you have any questions, please ask. This is what our discussion point, this is what we discussed in the data warehouse concepts class. If you have any questions, please ask. So Sri, please refresh yourself from the data warehouse concepts. Again, go back and get yourself and let me know. Sita, and I hope Yasin knows all about all this. Venkat. In data warehouse projects, generally the setup will be from Informatica perspective. Consider this as a Windows box or a Unix box, servers. Now, let us look at it. What happens? Let's say on the Unix box, they installed Oracle Server software. On this server software, you can have multiple databases. You can have multiple databases. On the same server, you can have multiple databases. I'm talking from Oracle perspective, that's all. It may be SQL Server and all means work the same way. So they can create multiple databases. In these databases, they can create multiple schemas. They can create multiple schemas as per their requirement. On the same database, when you access, you can have multiple schemas or users. So practically in projects, what they do, they put a schema for staging and another schema for your data mart. And also, generally in projects, what they do is they will create another schema for, on the same database, generally, they will keep another schema for Informatica repository. Another schema for Informatica repository they will create, where you will store the system tables of Informatica. I'm talking from a project perspective. I'm talking on this Oracle Server software piece. And they will install Informatica server software that is your repository services, your integration service. All servers will be installed on this machine. Same box, server software will be installed. And you will have a separate box for business objects or reporting tool. It may be another Unix or Windows servers. On this, if you need Oracle for their own purpose, then you will install Oracle. If not, you install the server softwares. If it is BO, you install BO server on this machine. Like Oracle, BO server software, like Informatica, BO needs a repository, so you will have Oracle installed on this machine. One schema will be created for Oracle, in Oracle database, one schema will be created for BO repository. I'm talking from a BO perspective, it needs a system table, so it will install BO repository and web servers, LDAP servers. All the servers will be installed on this machine also. So in projects, this will be the layout. You may have one source or multiple sources. This is source 1. This is your source 2. And this is your source 3. Like this, you may have multiple sources or single source, depending on the project to project. So as a ETL consultant, you are going to write simple mappings to extract and load the data as it is into the staging tables. They will design it. Architects and data modelers will design it. From this staging tables, we will load into dimensions and fact tables. On these tables, BO people will develop the reports. This is the general project layout. There may be different ways of doing it, different layouts, different landscaping will be there depending on the project to project. But ideal situation, we look at it, this is the layout of a project in data warehouse space. So generally what we observed is Informatica and the data warehouse will be on the same machine. Reporting tools will be on the different machines. From the Informatica perspective, these two are different activities. Loading one activity, reporting is another activity. Why they don't? Depending on the capacity, planning and all that stuff. If their capacity is very less and all, they may put BO server on this machine also. It is not that you have to put separately and all that stuff. Depending on the data, depending on the number of users, how they access, architects will take that decision. You don't need to worry about it. You may have all on 3 machines, but ideally, this is the scenario. But generally, we suggest Informatica and data warehouse, database, staging, and data warehouse database should be on the same machine. That is what we suggest when we do projects. So this is the generalized layout of your data warehouse projects. Now what we have here is, in lab, we have one source database. To make things bit clarity, we created another database only for staging. To make your life easy, that's all. And another database we created for data mart. We created for the data mart. So we will call this as DEV_SRC. We call this as DEV_STG. This we call it as data mart. I'll check it up. What we call them as. Yeah. So this database name is DEV_SRC. This database name is DEV_STG. This database is data mart. So as a ETL consultant, you are going to extract the data and load it into your staging area. And from staging, you are going to load into data mart. That is the layout. So I have 3 databases: source, staging, and the data warehouse. In the source relational tables, I have these tables. I'm going to load the data into STG tables. And from STG tables, I load into the data mart. Now, please open your sheets and write it down, this information of how to access it. Source, password, and the connect strings. X represents your student ID. After you are done, please let me know. Now, let me show you the database. This is your source database. These are the tables in the source database. Please remember one thing. Till yesterday, what we have discussed, source and target, is different databases. They are different databases which we were discussing in the business case examples. The source database and the target database are separate databases. So those were used only to make you learn the Informatica tool, and we have created these 3 databases separately for each of you. So 3 databases are there for source, staging, and target, that is the data. These are the tables in your source. Then I'll connect to the staging. These are the staging tables. Then these are the data mart tables. So 3 databases. We are going to extract data. First step, we are going to extract data and load it into your staging. That is the first. And from staging, you are going to load it into the data mart. First example, extract the data from dealership table. And load the data into STG dealership table. Extract the data from dealership table and load the data into STG dealership table. It's a simple mapping. You need to extract from dealership and load it into STG dealership table. From Informatica perspective, we need to define the source structure and the target structure. So let us go to Informatica. Clear all. Source import from database. Now question for you. Now I am going on to a different databases. So I want to import the table structure from this database. So should I need to create a ODBC connection, or can I use the existing ODBC connection? We need to create a new ODBC connection because that ODBC was defined to another database. So I'll create a new ODBC connection for the source DEV. So add Microsoft ODBC for Oracle. I'll give a name to it, SB14 DEV underscore SRC. Don't worry about the server name. For me, it's different. So SB14 and your ID is DEV underscore source. Let me check it out for myself. And the password. So I define the ODBC connection and I will import the table structure dealership table. So DEV underscore source is your data, is your ODBC connection I need to create. I hope everybody is clear about that. So if you want to define the source, you have to have a ODBC connection because it's a different database. So you create a ODBC connection for it. So please open your sheet and write this ODBC connection information. Then let me know. I hope you are clear, right? Why I have created the ODBC connection and how I am importing it. If you have any doubts, please ask. Create this ODBC source table to import it. Use the ODBC connection, username, password. Okay. You need to import the table structure from the database. That is STG dealership. For that also you need a ODBC connection. So you need to create a ODBC connection for this because it is on a different database. So import from database, create a ODBC connection. Microsoft ODBC for Oracle, you take it up and give a name to it. SP14 DEV underscore STG. For me, server is different. So I created the ODBC connection. And give a name to it. For me, it is staging. So this is on a different database. So I created a ODBC connection for this and imported the table structure STG dealership. Imported the table structure STG dealership. So open your sheet, write down this, and let me know when you are done, please. The same way you write it down. Same way you write it down in this. Import the table structure. Thing name. It is M underscore case study 1 CS1 underscore STG dealership. Now I'll get my source dealership. I get my target STG dealership. Transformation create best practice expression. In data warehouse projects, as it is, we copy. We don't make much changes to the data and load it into your target table. And save your work. And save your work. Whenever you extract data from the source, if it is a relational table, you use a source qualified transformation. Source qualified transformation will extract the data from the source if it is a table or a flat file. Now, generally in data warehouse projects, what they do is, whenever they load data from source to staging, they delete the previous data in the staging table. That we'll talk about in the incremental loading strategy, why they delete and all that stuff. We will discuss that separately of incremental loading strategy. Delete the previous data while loading the fresh data into the staging table that has to be implemented in the mapping from source to staging in our mapping itself. So whenever you load data into the staging, you have to delete the previous data. How can we implement it? Yesterday we discussed we can implement by using stored procedure. You can delete the data by creating a stored procedure and put a stored procedure transformation in the mapping. That is one way of doing it. Informatica provides a second way also to delete the data in the staging table before you load the data. The second way is on the target table there are properties. So you can set the properties up with the target table properties to delete the data from the staging table from the target table. One way is stored procedure, the other way is on the target table properties. You have pre-SQL and post-SQL. Pre-SQL means before the pipeline is run, means you execute the mapping before the data is extracted from the table, from the source table or flat file or anything. Whatever you write in this pre-SQL will be applied on the target database. Whatever you write under this table, under pre-SQL, just before the data is extracted from the source, whatever SQL statement you write in this will be executed on the target table. If you write post-SQL means after the loading is completed, after the pipeline is run completed, then you want to do anything. That is target post-load. This is target post-load in yesterday's scenario. After you load complete data, then you want to do any DML activity, then you can write it in post-SQL. In our case, we will write it in pre-SQL before the data is extracted from the source. It will delete the data in the target table. For that, we will write the mapping. In the mapping, we write the target table properties. Please write it down this, because we are going to delete every time when we load the data into the target table, we'll delete the previous data. Clear everybody about why we have used, clear about the mapping? If you have any questions, please ask. So in the target table, we write the properties to delete. That is a business requirement. If you don't delete it, the data will be loaded into the target table. Every day load will happen. Every day data will be loaded into the target table. If you load multiple times the data will be loaded into the target table. But we want the business requirement is we want to delete the previous data in the staging table before we load the fresh data. Every day different data will be loaded. Every day when you take a loading, it will be different. Example, you joined a company today. So today they load the data from source to staging. And another mapping will take from staging and load it into the dimension table. Tomorrow another person joins the organization. That next day data will be different. That data again will be loaded into the staging. So in the staging, previous data will be deleted and this fresh data will be loaded into the staging. Again, staging to dimension table, another mapping will pick up and load the data. Clear? So this is your mapping. Save it. Go to the task developer. Create a session for this mapping. Now, when you execute this, it will extract the data from this source, from the dealership table, and load the data into this staging dealership table. This is your dealership table. This is your staging dealership table. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Vijay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if we don't delete the data, every day the same data will be loaded into the staging table, or can we append the new data to the old data?
Let me discuss. Means, can you come again once more?
Yeah. If you don't delete the data, so every day the same data would be loaded in the staging table, or the new data would be appended to the old data.
Okay. Yeah. Your question is, if we do not delete the data, let me write the question so that everybody can get the point. If we do not delete the data in the staging, will the same data loaded into the staging, or different data will be appended to the staging?
Yeah.
The answer to this question is, I'll unmute you. This is your source data. As I said before, staging will have the same data, same columns, not much change. T date is the date on which the transaction happened. So I extract and load the data into my staging table. Here I do a ETL process and load it. Then another process of your dimension table, employee surrogate key, employee ID, transaction date. So along with the new sequence number, you load the data into your source to staging, staging to dimension table. Next day, 103 joined on 2nd January. 104 joined on 2nd January. Now which data we will extract? Already 1st January data has been loaded. So which data we will extract? We will extract transactions which happened on 2nd January. That data only we will extract. So this extraction of 2nd January data is called incremental load. Extraction of 2nd January data is called incremental load. We'll extract only the data from the source which does not exist in your dimension table We'll extract the data from the source which does not exist in the dimension table or in the staging table. That data only we'll extract. That is called incremental loading. So 2nd January data you extract. Now before you load the data into staging, if you do not delete it, this record may get appended to it. But our challenge again will be to extract from here only 2nd January data. Why to do this process again, which we have already done? So what they do in projects is, before you load this data in the staging, you pick 2nd January data, then you delete. Before you load, you delete the data in your staging table, then insert this data into the staging table. That's why you delete the data in the staging table. Then from staging, second mapping will pick up and load the data into your dimension table. Then on 105, just I'm giving an example of this. 3rd January data is joined, this record. So what we do, when we extract, we'll extract only the third transactions which happened on 3rd January data, because till 2nd January already processed. So while before you load this data, you delete in the staging, because with understanding that staging data is already processed and loaded into your dimension table. Then the next mapping will take from staging and load the data into your dimension table. That is the reason we delete the data in the staging table. Whichever data you are extracting, only the records which we require, we are extracting it. That is called incremental loading. Clear, everybody? How about others? Rupali. Now you created the work. Now come back to the Informatica mapping. Now you created the session. Now you need to extract the data from DEV source. Extract the data from the DEV source. Okay. Go ahead.
Hello Vijay, can you show me again XML sheet, Excel sheet? That here there is no condition while loading data from source to target. We are loading as it is. Data from source to target means next time also we are loading all the data from target. Am I right?
In this,
Hello?
which is the target?
Here we are loading data from source to staging, right? Staging is target here.
Yeah.
And you, as you told that we are deleting this to load new data from source. But here there is no condition while loading source from data from source to staging. Means when we execute mapping, all data will get loaded into the staging. So here no need to delete the previous staging table.
No, while extracting the data from here, in the source qualifier, we'll put a where clause.
Here is no where clause, right?
We have to put it.
Okay.
Okay. If you go back a step back, every time I will extract only second. When I extract only 2nd January data, I'll put it where transaction date is greater than 1st January on this table. So it will extract only 2nd January data. That data, while loading the data into staging, I'll delete the previous data.
Okay. I got it now.
Okay. We will check only the records which we require. We'll take only the records which we require. That can be done by using the where clause.
But for this our mapping,
I haven't put the where clause.
Yeah.
I haven't discussed the where clause and all that stuff as of now because I want to complete one flow, source to staging, from staging to SCD1, a dimension table and fact load. I'll complete one life cycle in next 4 days total. From today I'll discuss staging. Tomorrow I'll discuss SCD1. The next third class I'll discuss SCD2. Fourth class I'll discuss fact load. Then it will give you a clear picture of the whole life cycle. Then I will talk about this incremental loading, how you use where clause and all that stuff.
Okay. Okay. Then fine.
Okay. Now you have the source, you have a mapping. Come back to the class, please. You have a mapping. You need to extract the data from the source database, that is DEVSRC, and you need to load the data into DEV_STG. For this, we need to create connection because we don't have connection for this databases. I hope you understand it very clearly why I am creating the connection, because these are all different databases. So I give the name as DEV SRC SP14. Excuse me. So username is DEV_source and the connect string. Another connection for my staging, DEV_STG SP14. For me it is staging only. So I created two connections. So open your sheet, create the connections for DEVSRC and DEVSTG. After you create, you write down this, let me know. You have to create two connections. I hope you understand it. If you are not clear, let me know. Next, staging connection. Please create, write down this. So source connection, PV source, staging is STG. You're done. So let me assign those connections to my mapping. And you write this one also, session and workflow. Then I can go ahead and execute it. Okay, maybe it will take time. Okay, now let me execute this. First I'll assign the connections. Source, DEV, SRC, SP14. Target, DEV, STG, SP14. Change bulb to normal. Say OK. Workflow designer, close. Your workflow. Underscore case study 1, STG underscore dealership. Failed. Invalid username. Okay, let me put it as I don't know. DB underscore source. Succeeded. Let me go to my staging. Select the star from STG dealership. So it has loaded the data into my target table. Now let me take from here. I'll do total 6 topics. It is just a simple doing process. That is, from a lab perspective, from the practical perspective, what you need to do is, first time only, you need to create ODBC connections for source, for DEV source and DEV STG ODBC connections. Then when come to workflow, you create connections, that is relational connections for DEV source and the DEV stage. These 4 things you will do, and in the mapping itself, you have to write in the target table properties, delete statement in the pre-SQL. This is what you have to do first. Then other mappings are simple. Extract the data from product table and load the data into STG product table as it is. So generally in projects we do the same thing. So source, import from database. I import the product table. Then I import from staging I import the STG product table. And I'll create the mapping. M underscore case study 2 STG underscore product. So source, product, target, STG product, create, expression. So you take whatever is required into your expression transformation. From there you put it into your target table. Double click on the target table properties. Free SQL. Delete from STG product, semicolon. Don't forget the semicolon, if not it won't work. And save your work. So open your sheet. From here, this is what is going to happen. Open your sheet, please write it down. You please write it down, because when you go back after the training program, you have 1 month time to do all the practice yourself once again. So at that time, you should not get confused what it happened and all that stuff. So please write down. I understand it is a bit tedious, but let us do it. You're done? Then let me know. Same paper you have in front of you. Just you write the same thing. Then please write down this. Yeah, Sim, I will be there. Send me a mail. I may not be available. Yeah, definitely. You don't look at just 1 month after the class. After that also, if you have any questions, you can send it to me. But only thing is there will be delay in time of answering it. I will be very frank what I will be very frank what I can do, what I cannot do. So you send me, but give me some time. That's the only request I have. But definitely we'll answer. Actually, we learn more when during that 1 month time. Yeah, you will be there. I have given the timings also, when Sujay will be available and all that stuff. I didn't send it to you? Didn't I have sent it to you? Generally, he will be there from 8 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. of Eastern Standard Time for next 4 hours every day. You will be there, but he will not send you the WebEx and all. You send him a mail, he will be available. Or for everybody's information, I will write it. Sujay will be available after the training program for 1 month. Physically available, let's say at 7 means 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. For everybody. You will be there. You have to ask, you have to send him a mail if you have any problems of accessing or anything like that. You send a mail to him and put me on CC. Okay? To everybody this is, not just for Asim or, but put me on CC so that I can also be in the loop. Now I'll create the session for this. Task developer, create. Double click, mapping, source, TVSRCSB14, STG, TVSTGSB14, change bulk to normal. Save your work, start the workflow. Let's go to the target. Select star from STG product. Okay. Then the next mapping. Extract the data from product unit cost and load it into STG product unit cost table. Simple mapping. So I'll create the mapping. To that, import the table structure from the database. Product unit cost. Target table, import from database. Staging. STG product unit cost. Mapping. Create. M underscore case study 3. STG underscore product underscore unit cost. So source is a product unit cost. Target, best practice. You have to do these mappings because tomorrow, when we do the class, to extract data from staging to the dimension table, data should be loaded in the staging already. So please do execute this and complete it and go today. So delete from STG product unit cost, target table property. Then I will create a mapping workflow for this. Task, create, session, mapping name. You can save it. So product unit cost, mapping, source, TVSRCSB14, target, TVSTGSB14, change bulk to normal. Then create a workflow. Save your work and execute it. So select a star from STG, product unit cost. This is the data loaded into the target table. So open your sheets and write down this. After you're done, please let me know about this. Then write the session properties. Okay? You're done? Okay. The next mapping, you extract the source from customer and load the data into your staging table. Import from database, STG customer, m underscore case study 4 STG customer. So customer STG create expression. So from dealership to transaction, from dealership to transaction date. Then on the target table properties, pre-SQL, delete from STG customer. Task, create session. Save. Start. In the meanwhile, you write down the source connection and the target connection. ODBCs, please. Total 6 mappings are there. We have written 4. Another 2 are there, that's all. I hope you are done. I'm faster. Go to the sessions, create the session. More writing today. What, Yasin, you cannot attend for tomorrow's class? You cannot spare to listen the class? If possible, try to do it. We'll do SCD 1. If possible. If not, anyway, you have the recordings. Are you there, Yasin? Okay, done? Okay, okay. Only request I have for all of you, don't share those recordings. It is for you only. I'm not saying that you'll share it or something like that, but I'm just telling you that I want. Use it yourself. You paid for it. You work, you put your time for that. If anybody wants to really learn, please ask them to join us. Yeah. Fourth mapping, fifth mapping. Here the source is a flat file. So how much records loaded into staging customer? Let me show you. Select the star from STJ customer. So for me it loaded 230. Okay. For you it should load 5,883. It will load 5,883 for you because there is some data issue here. Don't worry about it. For me, I will check it up. For you, it should load 5,883. Sujay, I'll let Sujay know about that. Then second, fifth mapping, extract the data from a flat file and load the data into STG employees table. When your source is a flat file, you have to define the structure of the flat file. Source import from file. It is under C:class underscore examples. All files, employees underscore east.txt. Tab delimited file. So this is your source. I hope I haven't gone fast. And the target is import from database staging, STG employees. This is my fifth mapping of case study. So create M underscore case study 5, STG underscore employees. So your flat file is a source, employees underscore east, transformation create expression, STG underscore employees, so from the source to expression and from expression to the target. Arrange all iconic properties, delete from STG employees, save your work, create a session, S underscore the mapping name, your source is a flat file, so you give a path, C:, INS server, SRC files, target is a staging table, DV STGSP 14, change bulk to normal, then workflow designer, then save your work. Before I execute it, please write it down. This C:class underscore examples your source file, from where you have to define the structure of employees underscore east. Target table is your staging, so staging ODBC connection. Then write down your username, password. Source is C colon class underscore examples. ODBC connection is your ID underscore DEV underscore STG. Username DEV underscore STG underscore your ID. Password DEV underscore STG underscore your ID is the password. So this is the ODBC connection to import the target table STG underscore employees. Then write down this. Write down. I'll execute this. So it should load 28 records. Oh, this failed. You didn't check it out. So the data is in this table. It was previous batches data. So 28 records is loaded. Why did it fail that STG customer? Let me check. Table or view. Okay. Delete from STG customer. That's what I loaded, right? I'm doing that fourth mapping. Why it failed? Delete from STG customer only. Maybe the target connection I gave was wrong. Nothing. Yeah. Source is DVSRC SP14 is my source. STG customer is DVSTG SP14. You save your work. So I will execute again this one. So let me go and check the data in my customer table. It has loaded, but different data has been loaded. I'll take care of that. For you, it should be 5,883 that you ensure it. Next, mapping. We need to extract data from source. This is the last mapping from source to staging. So sales transaction table, you extract it and load it into STG sales transaction table. Same thing. Source import from database. Sales transaction table. Then staging import from database. STG sales transaction table. Create M underscore case study 6 STG underscore sales transaction table. So sales transaction target STG sales transaction create expression properties pre-SQL delete from STG sales transaction. So this is your mapping. We'll create a session for this. Mapping source connection DEV 14 source target equal to normal. Now create the workflow. Save your work. Start workflow. In the meanwhile, please write down this. Start చేసుకోమని క్లాస్ వాళ్ళని చేసుకున్నాం. Okay, source sales transaction, load the data into STG sales transaction table. Then write the connection information. I'll explain you later what is the difference between a normal and bulk load. Three things left for everybody. One is Sita's question of debugger thing. Somehow every day after I start 15-20 minutes, I remember it. Someday I'll complete that one. And naming conventions, that one. Second, third is this bulk load. Okay then. So select the star from STG sales transaction. (214) records it loaded. So with this, I'm done for today. Do you have any questions, please? I'm done with my class of doing this. Tomorrow we will discuss about dimension loading. So before I call it a day from my side, do you have any questions, please? Yeah, you can have. In a single mapping, you can have multiple mappings. If you wait for 5 minutes, I'll show that concept. Now only I'll show it to you as a concept for everybody. Let us take this mapping of not only source to anything, two mappings can be loaded. Let's say you have product and product unit cost. You are extracting the data from product table and loading into STG product table, and you are loading from two mappings in a single mapping. That I used to have an example, but I thought a lot of people were not listening anyway. It is called a pipeline loading. Please give me 10 minutes, let's complete this so that it will be clarity for you also. It's called a pipeline loading. multiple pipelines. In a single mapping, if you have multiple mappings, then pipeline loading. So you have a product. Sorry, this is not the case. You have a product and you want to load data into STG product table. I'll not put expression just to make work fast. And I have product unit cost as my source. And I'm going to load the data into STG product unit cost. I link this. So in a single mapping, you have two mappings. So in one mapping, this is another mapping. So in this way you can put it, and which one you want to load first, you can set it up. That is called a target load plan. Please look at it very carefully. Mapping, target load plan. Mapping, target load plan. So which one you want to load first, you can set it up in this. You want the product to be loaded first or product unit cost to be loaded first, you can set it up. So one after another, this will be executed. One after another, this will be executed. But the challenge in this will be, if the first one fails, still the second one will run. So practically in projects, what we do is we do source to staging separate mapping and staging to dimension load separate, create two sessions. But as Yazim asked for this question, can you create in a single mapping multiple mappings? This is called pipeline loading. You can have multiple mappings in a single mapping, separate streams these are. If you join them, then it will become one stream. So you have one stream like this, you have one stream like this. Then to set which one to be loaded first, this is called a target load plan. You specify this. You can put this or this up and you can do this. Is there a way you can have the mapping stop and one stream fails? In this case, you will not have this. In this case, you will not have that. But if you keep one session after another session in a workflow, then you can have task properties, they call it as. There you can do that. That we will explain you when you have multiple mappings loading simultaneously or sequentially. That's called sequential load and concurrent load in projects. That sessions you can handle, but here you cannot handle it. That's why we don't recommend this. So this is called multiple mappings in a single mapping. So I say okay. One target connection. Another target connection, I put it as delete from STG product unit cost. Semicolon. Save your work. Then we will execute this. I'm going to the workflow manager. Please wait for a minute. You will not be able to see it. No, I am bit free today. I don't have a class followed by this today. So, but let me complete it. I feel its completeness. So, two source qualifiers you have. So, two source connections you have to provide. For two sources. STG product unit cost, change bulk to normal, close it, bulk map, multiple line mapping, start. In the target load plan, you have set the STG product first, then product unit cost to be loaded. So in the log file, if you observe it, first it has done the STG product load, then it started the second mapping load, then it started the second mapping load, that is STG product unit cost. This is the product unit cost. As per your target load plan, first STG product, then product cost. So one after another, they will get executed. Clear? Okay, Yasim, you have any other question? No. You have to give a meaningful name. ETL lead will not give anything. ETL lead will give you the specification which I have given you. The document which we have given you, that will be the document for you. Naming conventions you have to follow. Each name, mapping name, transformation name, you have to give a meaningful name to it. No, you are paid for it, Sita. They will give you this document. They don't give you ODBC connections. They won't give you anything else. They won't give anything except this. This source defining is all in the lab we give you. These names and all concepts, everything. This is learning. So we give this. Practically in projects, they will give you like this. Mapping. What are the sources? What is the condition? And you have to do this. And remember one thing, this may be right or this may be wrong. Logics also sometimes may be wrong. You have to go back to the ETL lead and all. They will give you just this and let you know what they want. Which name is already existing? You create the names, right? Which we give for the new transformation. How will you give the naming convention? For any transformation, the naming convention is, if it is expression, exp underscore, give a meaningful name. What that transformation does, like exp, it is calculating total salary. So I give as total salary. Lookup, LKP, on which table it is doing a lookup, dimension customer. Like you are doing aggregator on total sales. Then you write like this. If you are writing filter, then you say salary, grade salary from where in production. Can I unmute you? Do you want to speak?
Vijay, the name which we give for the new transformation might be already existing in the system, right?
Which system?
Uh, it might be existing in some other that transformation name might be already defined in another system or somewhere in another map.
No.
Things.
No. It is pertaining to that mapping only.
Okay, so for the new mapping, if we use the same transformation, then it won't be any problem.
No problem. You have
Okay.
the same. If you have same mapping, in the mapping it should not have a different name. If you have for the transformation same name in a different mapping, you can have it. But mapping name should be different.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yasim wants to share his knowledge. Go ahead, Yasim.
Yeah, I mean, one thing is if for the mapping naming convention, right? Each client will have a naming convention. I don't know specifically about Informatica, but most of the ETL jobs will have a naming convention, and there will be a number for most of the jobs that you put to production. So the ETL lead will give you the number range that you can choose from. So, so if you are creating a new mapping and you want to check whether the mapping name is available, there will be a place where you can go and check whether somebody else would have has already created that mapping or not. Usually there will be a scheduling system where you can go there and check, or there will be a document repository where they will place that. So if nobody else has taken, then you can go and take the name of the mapping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some projects have that repository and all. Some projects will not have that repository. In that case, the naming convention will be for transformations. It is pertaining to that mapping only. Whatever transformation names you provide, it is pertaining to that mapping only. Okay. For mapping, mapping name should be different in that folder. Excuse me. How the thing is, on the top level you have the repository name. Next, for each project they will provide folders. In Informatica, under that folders you will create mappings. So under that folder, mapping should be unique name. And in this mapping you have transformations. For each mapping you have transformations. Under that it should be unique. So same transformation name can be there in another mapping. That is the way it works. Now the name convention, what Yasin said, there is a repository of document where they will keep the numbers and all that stuff. That is one way of doing as per the client. Or if they don't give you the names and all that stuff, generally what we do in Informatica is M underscore. It is based on the loads and dimension table. Is it a CD1 or a CD2, or is it a fact load, or is it a staging load? Like this, they will put it. You have different types of loads. Which duplicate names? Yeah, duplicate names Okay, Venkat, I couldn't get you. I'll come back to you. This is the loads. So in projects, you have different ways of doing it. Like you have multiple source systems. You will have multiple source systems. So they have their own names for that. Based on that, you name your mapping, M underscore. If you have very multiple source systems, then is it a daily load, or is it a weekly load, or is it a monthly load, is it a quarterly load, or yearly load, how it is. Then they put it like this. Then, is it a staging load or anything like that? Generally for staging, you don't need to put separately as a staging because the table name will be having a staging. That's why if I have observed it. The name of the table will indicate that it is a staging table. That's why target table name they will put it STG underscore product. So daily, this mapping will load daily. That is their understanding. If it is weekly, they say LY STG product. If it is a weekly load of your dimension table, then they put it as TIM. I'm giving an example. Like this, they'll put it weekly, monthly, yearly, and all that stuff. So for seeing that load, you will understand that what mapping is all about. Clear, Sita, and others. With same old name, it accepted in the same mapping. Okay. Oh. Okay, Venkat. Yeah, that is different mapping. Yeah. Okay. Okay then. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And tomorrow we will do the other things.